What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on the channel, and today we're previewing round 15. It's Port Adelaide versus Sydney at the Adelaide Oval. This Saturday twilight, 3:45 p.m. It's going to be a massive game, a game that has so much riding on it between these two sides, and both sides hanging on to finals hopes, and it's one that I'm very much looking forward to. I do apologise for the late preview this week. Life has been hectic with a lot of work and a lot of footy and a lot of everything else happening in between, but we've been able to find a good opportunity now to preview, and it's probably a good chance because we've got all the data, all the teams, and everything we need to have a look at this game and give it an extensive preview of what's going to be a season-defining game for both sides. And Port Adelaide, obviously I'll get straight into the changes because we do have those on hand, and Lachie Jones, Christian Moraes and Joe Berry comes back in to the side. Lachie Jones back from his hamstring, and Moraes and Berry, the youngsters in their first years, back in the side as well. Aliir is unfortunately out with that knee injury, and couldn't quite get up for the game, which I think is completely fair enough. No point risking Aliir with a game coming up on Thursday next week against the Blues, and we'll need him for that. Ollie Wines out with a knee complaint as well. They reckon it could be a 1 weeker, but again, similar to with Thursday game next week as well, and a short turnaround, might be unlikely for that. And Hugh Jackson is very, very stiff to be missing out in this one. He's had a good patch over the last few weeks and his 3 games that he's played since debuting as the sub against Freo, and has had 1 full game against the Giants, and then obviously comes back against the D's and doesn't get a game, or gets a quarter of football, which is unfortunate. Very, very stiff. Thought Trav Boak was very stiff as well, and I'm very worried about Trav. I am very, very worried. With 10 rounds to go, you're just starting to sit here and go, that announcement's coming, isn't it? And it's very, very sad. And he should be getting game time, but clearly is having a lot of trouble with his body this year, and has been managed again, just like last week. So yeah, it's unfortunate, especially when Trav does come in, has an impact, which is very, it's intriguing. So we'll see how it goes. But regardless, I do love the selections. I think having the young core in there, Lachie Jones back, does help. The Swans don't have truly a big forward line. They're running with Amadi and Will Hayward. They've got a pretty standard small lineup. So I think with Aaron Francis being there as well, he has a pretty much a swing role, but I think match ups quite well. Obviously, we look back at round 6 earlier in the year in that SCG game, and we matched up really well. We were able to put a pressure on and really be able to apply pressure to the ball carrier, and we play the SCG really well. I know we lost the prelim there last year, but the way our game style works, it's we were able to play tight and tussle, which is good. So I think we match up really well against the Swans, as we've seen over the last few years. They've won 1 game against us in the last 8 or 9 years, and that was the prelim. Every other game, we look at the last time they played at the Adelaide Oval against Port Adelaide, it was 112 points. And they'll be eyeing this one off. They've got some very big key-ins as well. The Swans, they've got Papley back. They've got Matt Roberts back. Errol Goulden is the big key player in the midfield back for them as well. And Joel Amadi, as I mentioned, coming back into the side to put some extra height. And, they don't have Corey Warner, Tom Hanley, Taylor Adams, and Jake Lloyd, which is a big out for them in terms of, a namesake. He hasn't been as great as he'd like to be, but very intriguing changes for both sides, and how it looks on paper is a very even lineup. These two teams are definitely supposed to be where they are on the ladder. They definitely have this game. Definitely has the capability of swinging one way or the other. I don't think there's a real clear favourite here. The Adelaide Oval probably leans Port Adelaide's favour, but Aliir and Wines are big key outs. I'd love to know your thoughts, because this game I can't wrap my head around. We're coming into this. The Swans are coming off a bye after beating the Tigers at the SCG. They've won that game, barring the week before that where they got pumped by the Crows. Then they have a bye, and we've won the last 2 against the Giants and the D's. And in big games and games we needed to turn our season around. And 6 and 7. Going into next week against the Blues after a 5-day break, I'd love to be 7 and 7. Just making it feel better about ourselves. This is a crucial game. Both sides love a pretty high possession game. The power average is 359 disposals. The Swans average 350. Inside 50s are fairly even across the year. The Swans average a bit more with 53 compared to our 52. The efficiency inside 50 is where it's going to matter. And we've seen the Swans have missed plenty of opportunities. They do have the capability of missing quite a lot of set shots, and similar to the Ds, you know, if they don't take their chances, then they can be accounted for. So again, this week we've got to come into the mindset of we've got to kick goals. We've got to kick goals. We've got to make sure that we are utilising our forwards and really making sure our representation up forward is crucial. We've gone with the 2 rucks again, which I do like because I think it worked well with Dante being a real strong presence inside the contest and around the contest, around the mark. He was very, very potent, I guess. Whereas Jordan Sweet was very much his big man presence, and I think he can hold well against Grundy, in the contest in the middle of the ground, but then go forward and stretch out the Swans' defence. And we know Mitch Georgiadis is the key pillar, but you put a big presence like Jordan Sweet down forward, and all of a sudden, it just you know you're conscious of Georgiadis, but Sweet being there, being so big and can take contested marks. He doesn't take a lot of them, but being that subconsciousness of, oh, there's a big guy, he might take a mark, we better make sure he doesn't get it. And then it opens up the forward 50. Georgiadis can lead and run and carry and be what he has been the last couple of weeks, and a ferocious player in and around in the contest. He's able to fly for marks, cleans up his own footy. Last week was his best game, and they'll put a lot more into him this week. I have no doubt about that. I think similar style of play between the Port and the Swans. 88 marks, they're on average to 83, which is interesting because you've got players like Blakey for the Swans, run and carry, burst through the pack. It's going to be a beautiful day on Saturday. Absolutely magnificent. I think it's about 20 degrees and sunny. A day to carry, day to run, day to move. And I think this game's going to be fast, ferocious footy. And I'm very much keen for it. Unfortunately, I'll miss it due to playing footy myself. But yeah, it's a crucial game and one that I think we have to win, obviously. But I'm very optimistic and promising signs, even with our outs. Final thought for this one. Simple as, I think we played the way we've played the last couple of weeks. A good round mix of contested footy, but also being able to utilise the corridor, using our pace, transition well. Starts with Connor Rozee down back, and I think we'll be able to get the job done, make sure we hit our targets, and making sure our inside 50 usage is important, and hitting our targets and play the way we need to play, and we'll beat the Swans, I think. And that's going to be my final thought. Port by 16 points in a tight tussle. Won't be any sort of a blowout like it has been, but I think we'll get up for Jace Burgoyne's 50th game, which is, it seems like only a couple of years ago when we played in that 2002 year. And a lot of this year is reminiscent of 2022 when he debuted against Freo, looked the goods, looked really, really like the part. And in that year as well, we played the Swans at the Adelaide Oval, and they were in that grand final year. They were top of the table pretty much, and they came to Adelaide and we turned it on. Todd Marshall was a star. So I think a similar style of play could happen on the weekend, and one I'm very intrigued. This game's going to look beautiful on screen as well. Sunshine, Port crowd, Swans with their red. It's just perfect mix. Let me know in the comments below, Port fans, your thoughts about this game. Can't wait to hear all about it and how we can win this game. But overall, I'm very, very keen. I look forward to seeing everyone at the Adelaide Oval. As I said, I won't be there, unfortunately, playing my footy. But get the job done, get 7-7, and move into next week against the Blues. It's going to be absolutely crucial. So, yeah, keen as. So thank you very much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new for plenty more Port Adelaide and AFL content to come your way. My name's Anthony, and as always, count the pair.